In the United States, the air is heavy with tension. Politicians are throwing around new immigration laws like confetti, but the vibe isn't festive. Immigrants are the backbone of countless jobs, cooking meals, building homes, and even entertaining through their media. But instead of respect, they're treated like disposable labor puppets. Every day brings another executive order discussion, and people are just waiting for the next bombshell. And that bombshell drops right into one family's lap. We first meet JP at a burger joint, stuck on drive-through duty. You'd think it would be an easy shift. Take orders, pass out fries, maybe get yelled at for forgetting extra ketchup. But two entitled customers roll up and decide today's special will be served with a side of racism. They ask for items the restaurant doesn't even carry, then insult JP like he's some kind of punching bag. Wrong move. JP fires back instantly, roasting them through the loudspeaker so loudly the whole line hears. Moments later, a car full of girls pulls up. JP's tough exterior cracks when he sees one of them, his little sister Lily. Her friends can't contain the news. Lily just got into college. She'll be leaving home soon, stepping into a whole new life. JP congratulates her, but when he gets home, the reality sets in. He's proud, sure, but also sad. The house won't be the same without her. As they snap a picture together, JP notices something peeking out from behind her ear, a tattoo she got in secret. Typical sibling move. She swears him to secrecy, and he agrees not to tell their mom. The family later throws a big party to celebrate Lily's success. The house is full of laughter, food, and that bittersweet energy of a family milestone. Lily playfully tosses a cootie catcher at JP, calling him a dork, and they exchange their signature loser hand gestures like they're still kids. Their mother takes the floor, delivering a heartfelt speech about her daughter's future. The moment is warm, hopeful, until flashing police lights cut through the windows. Officers burst through the door without warning, their heavy boots crushing the mood. The celebration turns into chaos as the entire family is arrested on the spot. The reason? A new executive order from Governor Finn, who proudly announces on the news that all undocumented immigrants and their American-born children who didn't report them are now criminals. Zero tolerance. Families torn apart in seconds. The children are locked in cages, and JP's heart shatters as he watches Lily being dragged onto a bus, taken away to who knows where. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. Days later, JP is summoned by an official from Homeland Security. They tell him that overturning the order is impossible. His mother will be deported. Unless there's a loophole. If JP completes something called the Elderly American Tolerance and Understanding Project, basically a community service program at a retirement home, he can earn his release. Imagine being told freedom comes down to babysitting cranky grandpas. JP doesn't really have a choice, so he agrees. He's interviewed by two officials who treat jokes like they're a federal offense. Meanwhile, other immigrant kids are processed too. Their mugshots snap like they're hardened criminals. The kids spit sarcasm, rolling their eyes through the whole ordeal, but deep down they know they're trapped. Officer Bruce lays out the rules. No outside contact. Respect curfew. Wear ankle monitors at all times. Break the rules, and it's straight back to detention. The group is shipped off to Alcove, a retirement home run by a cheerful man named Eddie. He gives a welcome speech about how rewarding the experience will be, but nobody buys it. The staff includes Cynthia and James, who patrol the halls with the energy of prison guards. As Eddie shows them around, JP's attention locks onto a frail woman named Greta, who clutches a lily in her hands. The detail unsettles him, but he doesn't yet know why. At lunch, the group bonds over how terrible the food is. This isn't summer camp. It's their only chance at survival. Later, JP tries to speak to Greta. She sits silent, staring through him like glass. Micah suggests reading to her, so JP picks up a random book. That's when Greta suddenly blurts out, "You will die here." Her voice sharp, her eyes filling with tears. Before JP can react, she wails louder and louder until Cynthia storms in with a syringe, sedating her on the spot. Greta is wheeled away, leaving JP rattled. That night, Chris refuses to eat, mumbling about how the staff are watching from behind dark glass. He declares he's going to escape, ignoring the others' pleas to stay put. He makes it as far as a locked door before alarms blare. Guards storm in and tase him, dragging him away as the group watches helplessly. In the middle of the night, JP wakes to use the restroom. On his way back, he sees an owl perched outside his window, its eyes glowing in the dark. Inside his room, an old woman suddenly appears, whispering, "Virgil will set you free." Before he can react, she lunges at him, clawing wildly. The next day, Eddie apologizes for the incident, claiming someone left a dangerous ward unlocked. He offers to show JP the more serious patients. JP's friends want no part of it, but JP chooses to stay. James escorts him, spewing slurs until Eddie forces them to behave. As JP helps put a weak patient to bed, the man in the next bed suddenly bites him. Darkness swallows JP. He wakes in the infirmary. For a moment, his heart leaps. Lily is there, tending to him. She tells him she's closer than he thinks. But then the room changes, colors turning red, walls dripping with blood. JP blinks, and he's back. Just a nightmare. Micah sits beside him, patching up his wound. They whisper about how the staff treat the elderly like cattle. At lunch, the group wonders why Chris hasn't returned. Cynthia passes by, coldly saying he was sent back to detention. But Big Mac reveals he found Chris's inhaler in the hall. Chris never went anywhere without it. They know she's lying. Later, Big Mac brings Greta into another patient's room for company. But as he fiddles with the TV, the man in the bed begins twisting grotesquely, bones bending at unnatural angles. His body contorts, cracking and snapping until he rises, snarling like something out of a horror film. Big Mac bolts, but the image burns into his mind. The staff later claim the man simply died in his sleep. No one believes it, especially not Big Mac. Eddie tries to distract them with his pet owl, Virgil, claiming it's the gatekeeper of the alcove. He even forces James and JP to hug it out. JP uses the chance to swipe James's keys, proving the only thing tighter than their hug was his pickpocket skills. That night, he unlocks everyone's ankle monitors. Laughter fills the air, briefly drowning out the horror. JP and Micah share a kiss and sneak off together. But the next morning, JP wakes to find an old lady beside him, only for Micah to reveal it's a prank. Their monitors are locked back on, and the day resumes. JP soon notices Greta playing with a cootie catcher, the exact same kind Lily made. Greta hands it to him, clutching his hand tightly until Cynthia and James arrive to sedate her again. Later, JP fiddles with the catcher and discovers a hidden message inside, the word help. That night, he sneaks into Greta's room. Sedatives keep her in a heavy sleep. He hides under the bed as James and Cynthia enter, increasing her dosage to keep her weak. After they leave, JP checks her ear and sees Lily's tattoo. Greta isn't just another patient. She is Lily. She's been trying to reach him from the start, through the flower, the cootie catcher, the warning words. Before JP can act, James punches him out cold. The next day, Big Mac, Camila, and Micah realize JP has vanished. It reminds them too much of Chris. They break into James's office and discover blueprints for a strange machine and a file saying Chris is in solitary. James nearly catches them, but they escape. Soon after, Big Mac falls. JP wakes strapped to a chair in a lab, half his face unnaturally aged. Around him, others sit tied down, their bodies wrinkling as chemicals drip into their veins. He watches staff enter codes on the doors, memorizing every movement. Eddie, meanwhile, meets with Governor Finn at a burger joint. The big reveal? The meat they use is human flesh from alcove, fast food cannibalism, and the sales are through the roof. Back in the lab, JP recalls the owl, Virgil, the gatekeeper. He tries the word Virgil as the door code, and it works. He sneaks out, barely keeping his weak body upright. He stumbles into a room filled with bags of processed flesh, human remains fed into grinding machines. The horror nearly buckles him. He runs into Micah, who comforts him until she stabs him with a syringe. She's been Eddie's spy all along. When JP wakes, Micah and Eddie are dancing. Eddie explains that immigrants are injected with hormones to tenderize their meat. The accelerated aging is just a side effect. Nobody questions the sudden deaths of the elderly. Philip's twisted body had simply reached the ready-for-processing stage. Meanwhile, Camila manages to free herself thanks to Big Mac, who sneaks her keys through the vents. She breaks into the surveillance room and discovers the truth. But James catches her, knocking her out. Camila and JP wake together, their bodies rapidly aging. On a TV, Finn delivers another hate-filled speech. But Lily is there too, frail and dying. JP promises to get her out, forming their old loser hand gesture. When James, Cynthia, and Micah arrive to sedate them, Camila kicks the tray over. The elderly patients rise up, finally unleashing their fury on the staff. Chaos erupts. JP flees, but is caught by Bruce, who nearly chokes him to death. Big Mac saves him using Bruce's own catheter as a weapon. All around them, old patients and staff battle in a frenzy. JP, Lily, and Camila reach an elevator. James tries to stop them, but Big Mac smashes a chair over his head. The elevator drops them into an unfamiliar corridor, while Big Mac rallies the elderly into full rebellion, leading them toward freedom. Outside, they stumble onto a road. A woman in a car sees them, panics, and drives away in reverse. Inside, JP finds Chris locked in a cage, now aged beyond recognition. Eddie ambushes him, tossing him onto the chopping machine. Camila saves him just in time, but Eddie rises again. That's when Chris, in a monstrous final stage, attacks Eddie, brutally killing him before collapsing himself. Eddie's body is fed into the machine, ground into the same burgers he once sold. At last, JP, Lily, and Camila stumble outside. Exhausted, they fall asleep on a garden bench. Big Mac eventually finds them and freaks out when they won't wake, until they prank him by opening their eyes. For the first time in forever, they laugh. Soon, the news explodes with coverage of Alcove. Governor Finn flees the country, his burger empire shut down. Officials involved are arrested, the executive order lifted, and JP's mother is finally free. The nightmare is over, but the scars remain. And that's the end of this wild ride. A mix of horror, satire, and family bonds surviving even the darkest places. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you ever eat at a suspiciously cheap burger joint again? Yeah, me neither. Well,